Hello, hello. Okay, so let's talk about nutrition. Nutrition can be something that is very overwhelming sometimes, especially when you think about everything, all the information that's coming your way on social media, on YouTube, on Google, especially once you start looking into this stuff and just the internet algorithms start picking up on, oh, you're searching for how to lean out and tone up, or best diet for weight loss and muscle gain, things like that. It just completely bombards your feed and your Google searches with all of these different diets, different experts that are all claiming that their diet is the best, and it can just be so overwhelming. So, what my goal is to break down the basics for you that's very much rooted in science, very sound, very concise, and as simple as possible to help you start to deconstruct complex all of the complexities and just simplify everything. So let's get into it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for giving yourself this time so that you can learn about your body and about your nutrition and start making healthy choices in your life that are going to give you long-term results, body composition changes, and overall balance using real world food and real situations, right? That's the goal. So let's get into it. Okay, so a little word before we dive in. I am someone who has had a very complicated relationship with food. That's an understatement. For years, my entire day was truly dominated by my thoughts and feelings around food and around my body. Um, in my goal here is to use guidelines that will lead to food freedom and long-term results. So it's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be something where you can just cut out things completely, go super hard, and see all this weight fall off and be like, okay, good, we're good to go. In 3 weeks, I just dropped 20 pounds. That's not what this is about. This is about long-term results. I'm not here to take you through some sort of vicious cycle. I spent too many years in that. It is not effective. It is not safe. It just doesn't work. It's like a short-term fix. It gives us the idea that it's working, and it's actually setting us back. So we're going to learn how to incorporate all foods into our eating plans if you work with me. Now, when we really want to lose weight and fat, it can be tempting to just eat as little as possible, like kind of scenario I just described. This is deceptive. Please don't fall for this. Regardless of our goal, whether it's to lose weight or to gain muscle or both, we do need to eat enough to let our bodies know, hey, it's safe to make this physical change. And so our bodies don't shut down all of these other processes just to compensate for the food that we are not giving it. Okay, we need to eat enough. And this is also how to build a lifestyle around balanced eating. This is also how we improve our relationship with food. We have to kind of take the all or nothing mindset out of it in order to have a healthy food relationship. And if you're consistent, you will get results. It's just a matter of time. So the other thing is that because our soul is comprised of our thoughts and our emotions, building a healthy relationship with food helps heals our soul. It helps to heal our souls from the damage that is done by excessive food guilt, shame, and obsession. So let's give ourselves that relief by dedicating ourselves to staying consistent. So with some science-informed nutrition guidelines, we can learn enough to make informed, balanced food choices that will lead to long-term health and fitness progress. And like I mentioned earlier, food choices are interwoven with our lives, our work life, our family life, our social life, and our mental and emotional states all impact our food choices. And these things are impacted by our food choices as well. By making realistic changes over time, we allow our body, mind, and soul and lives the chance to adjust successfully for the long run. Okay, so let's go ahead and step away from the drastic calorie cutting, the fad diets, and let's just step toward a balanced and realistic nutrition approach that will give us long-term results if we keep making informed choices. You are worth it. So, what is a calorie? A calorie is just a unit of energy. So, 1 calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise 1 kilogram of water from 0 to 1 degree Celsius. So, as you know, our bodies are made up of water. Our bodies require energy in order to be just doing all the processes that it's doing: breathing, digesting, thinking, pumping blood. Sleeping takes calories, just everything that our body does. And calories can come from 3 macronutrients, okay? So calories come from fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, aka carbs. I'll be calling them carbs from now on. Okay, our body needs a certain number of calories to maintain its current weight with the current amount of activity that we are doing. And when we consistently eat more calories than our body is using, then we gain weight. It could be muscle, it could be fat, or it could be both, depending on our activity level as well as what we are eating. Like if we're eating enough protein and enough of the right macronutrients, it could be muscle that we're gaining, just depends, but we will gain weight. And when we eat less calories than what our body is using, then we lose weight. It could be muscle, it could be fat, and oftentimes it's both. Especially if we go into an extreme deficit, we will definitely be losing both muscle and fat. That's why we don't want to go into too extreme of a deficit. So what I just mentioned, the amount of calories that your body requires to maintain its current weight, this is called our total daily energy expenditure, aka TDEE for short, aka maintenance calories. If you want to calculate your total daily energy expenditure so that you can track your food in MyFitnessPal, there are calculators online that you can do this. You can also message me and I'll send you the calculator, the TDEE calculator that I use. And if you need further guidance in this area, you just feel like you need someone to consult with, like to work with you on this, then reach out to me and we can talk about that as well. But yes, I would be glad to send you a TDEE calculator. Just send me a message. So we talked a little bit about caloric deficits. All right. Now, that's what we do when our primary goal is fat loss, aka adipose tissue reduction. But we do not want to eat too little or go into too much of a deficit, because if we eat too little, our body will go into metabolic adaptation processes that adjust to these extreme conditions. And what happens then is our body's like, yo, I'm just going to kind of go and shut things down. I'm going to lower my energy usage. And what happens is our basal metabolic rate, aka our BMR, is lowered. This means that we burn less calories at rest, making it harder to lose fat and making it harder to keep fat off. Okay, because when we burn less calories at rest, then we are more likely to have to eat less to keep it off long term. Whereas if we were to go into a deficit that's not extreme, still eating enough to where our body feels safe to keep using the amount of energy that it's using, then we'll actually raise our basal metabolic rate and we'll burn more calories at rest, meaning that we have to eat more in the long run. And that's what happens when we build lean muscle. So it's just super important not to go into too severe of a deficit. Typically, 300 to 500 calories is a decent range. Definitely starting off with less of a deficit and letting your body kind of give us the cues as to, okay, was that okay? And the way you can know is like, how did your workouts go? Did you have enough energy to perform your workouts as well as before the deficit? And the other thing is, if you're feeling really groggy, low energy, that could mean it's too much of a deficit. It could also mean that you're not eating enough whole foods. We'll get into that as well. But A caloric surplus is the opposite. This is when we eat more than our body requires. This is what you would also call a bulking phase if it's done intentionally to build muscle when that's our primary goal. Now, undereating, I want you to understand that undereating can actually hinder your fat loss. What? Undereating can hinder my fat loss? Yes, ma'am, it sure can. That's because the metabolic adaptation that I mentioned earlier is what our body will do. Our body will, it's really what it sounds like. It's that our metabolism adapts to the lower energy input that we are giving it, and whereby our metabolism is adapting to this, it means that it's slowing down. And this is not just some myth that there are studies, this is backed by research. And so please don't do this to yourself. It's just a lose-lose situation. Okay. Now, high-calorie food. Let's talk about high-calorie food. Foods that contain a lot of calories in one serving are considered high-calorie foods. There are two different types of high-calorie foods. They can either be nutrient-dense or non-nutrient dense. Nutrient dense high-calorie foods contain lots of vitamins and minerals, aka micronutrients. Think of peanut butter, avocado, dates, and coconut oil. Peanut butter is going to have some good antioxidants and also some fats in there that have benefits to them. That, if I'm remembering correctly, then peanut butter also has some minerals in it. I know for sure avocado has vitamins and minerals in it, so do dates, and coconut oil has a lot of benefits to it as well, micronutrients that are packed in there. So in non-nutrient dense high-calorie foods, you can think of cookies, cake, and chips. There are lots of calories in one serving, but there's not really any vitamins and minerals. We can still eat these foods though. They still provide us with the macronutrient of carbohydrates, fats, not really proteins, but we can still eat them for fuel. We just have to be aware of how much we're eating and be aware that they are non-nutrient dense, and we want to give our bodies foods that do have nutrients in them whenever possible. And if we work together, then I will be giving you some resources that I created that will show you sources of foods to eat for calories, proteins, and fats that are nutrient dense. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me, whether we work together or not. I would be glad to answer your questions. Low-calorie foods. Okay, so low-calorie foods contain a small amount of calories in a serving, and oftentimes these low-calorie foods are nutrient-dense. Sometimes they're not. Like, you can think popcorn is a low-calorie food, but not really very nutrient-dense, doesn't have a whole lot of vitamins and minerals. But low-calorie foods that do contain a lot of vitamins and minerals, aka macronutrients, those include spinach, broccoli, grapes, carrots, cucumbers, and most vegetables. It is definitely advantageous to eat these foods often because they will fill you up. They oftentimes contain fiber, which is very filling and good for your digestion. And they also give you good vitamins and minerals that will make you feel good and vital and alive over time. Doesn't mean you have to give up your sweets completely or give up your fried foods in entirety, but if we supply ourselves with these nutrient-dense foods, it is going to make our nutrition goals easier to reach over time. We're going to be able to just get to the end of the day, the end of the week, and feel like a complete human. You'll notice this over time if you do this and you stick with it. It's good to eat nutrient-dense foods at every meal. So for breakfast, you can add in to whatever breakfast you're eating, you can add in like an orange, an avocado, some berries, a banana, an orange, a banana, some berries, maybe some apples, maybe half a banana, if not a whole banana. And then at lunch, you can just add in some steamed mixed veggies. You can even do the steam in bag mixed veggies, the ones that are frozen that you just pop into the microwave. Those actually are not terrible. They do still retain a lot of nutrients, and especially if you're short on time, this can be really, really beneficial. And then at dinner, just add some veggies into your dinner as well, and you'll be good to go. Empty calories. Empty calories, I'm sure you've heard this term. These are calories that contain little micronutrients. So basically the non-nutrient dense high calorie foods would fall into this category. This includes things like donuts, muffins, biscuits, cakes, and highly processed meats. Now, we don't have to give up empty calories completely, as the body can still use the carbs for fuel and even the fats for fuel. But a diet that's high in empty calories and low in micronutrients, it will not provide your body with overall health, and your body will let you know that it is not happy with you. You won't feel very good. You'll probably have digestion issues. You probably will be sluggish, and you will be probably groggy, probably moody, and things like that. So we just have to be aware of it, aware of how much we are eating. Now, what is most of our goal? Most of us who are listening to this are after body recomposition goals. Body recomposition, what is this? This is when we're building muscle and losing fat at the same time. So building lean muscle is the key part of this process. This is what leads to the long-term results that we can actually hold on to. What happens is that when we are building lean muscle, our BMR, our basic metabolic rate, or the amount of calories that we use at rest, increases, so that we have to eat more to actually maintain our body's weight. So this is key, because in life, we are given these situations where there's a lot of food. There's a social context to it. There's a bonding around food. There's an emotional component to eating. But if we really think about it, if we increase our basal metabolic rate, this is kind of what people mean when they say, oh, you have a fast metabolism. You have more opportunities to enjoy food without gaining fat and without having to worry about that. The other thing is that there are a lot of health benefits that come with increased muscle. Muscle houses our stem cells in it. Muscle houses blood in it. It protects our bones. It protects our skeletal systems, especially as we age. Also, our bone density increases as we gain muscle, because resistance-bearing exercises are also strengthening for the bones. So in order to build muscle, we do need to eat more than if we're not building muscle. As we eat more, we restrict less. What happens then? Our relationship with food tends to get a lot better, because we're not always like, oh, food is bad, donuts are bad, cookies are bad. If I can just go without eating, then I'm better off. No, that's just no longer the name of the game. And so our relationship becomes welcoming to food. We soften, we open up to it. It's our friend. The other thing about building muscle is that muscle creates that toned appearance that most women are looking for. Most women are like, I don't want to get bulky, I just want to get toned. Well, the missing link to that reasoning is that if you lift heavy and you are trying to get stronger, you will not get bulky as long as you are eating in maintenance calories or a slight deficit. The only way you would get bulky is if you're gaining fat through eating in a surplus, but eating too much of a surplus and usually not enough protein. So the other thing is, you're not going to get bulky with muscle. It's just too hard to do that. You would have to be taking supplements. You would have to be lifting for like a really, really, really long time at really high volumes and loads, and it's just not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to get toned, because your muscle is going to shine through, and actually it's going to shine through the layers of adipose tissue or fat, and it's going to make itself more defined, and you're going to see the shape that you want. You're going to probably decrease your overall size as well, because muscle weighs more than fat, and muscle is more dense than fat. So like with myself, I actually went into body recomposition at maintenance calories for 12 weeks, and I decreased my pant size, actually went down about a size. I got more shapely, and actually, let me pull up those pictures. I was lifting heavy, I got more toned, I got leaner, and a bit more shapely. So that's what tends to happen with women, because we're building our back muscles, our shoulders, and our legs and glutes. And so it creates the illusion of a smaller waist. Let's see here. Just one moment. You know what? I don't think I'll be able to pull those up just now, but I don't have my USB plugged in, so I apologize about that. If you want to see them, reach out to me, and I will send them to you. Okay. Next. The 3 macronutrients are proteins, carbs, and fats. Each macro group has an important role within our body. Okay, so carbs are not bad. Carbs are good. Fats are not bad. Fats are good, except for if you eat too many of the wrong carbs and wrong fats over time, right? But we do not want to cut out carbs and fats. We want to eat carbs and fats because our body needs them. And I'm going to correct myself. I shouldn't have said wrong carbs and fats. I just mean that there are certain types that are less healthy for the body than the other type. And I'll get into that in just a moment. But each macronutrient group has a set number of calories per gram. So protein has 4 calories per gram, carbs have 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9 calories per gram. That's just good knowledge to have. And over time, you will find yourself getting this information just comes to you at like second nature. Okay, so our bodies use protein. What is the role of protein? Our bodies use protein to build muscles, to build bones, to build connective tissue, to go in and repair our skin, our hair, and our nails, among all other bodily materials. Protein is like the building blocks of our body. And foods that are high in protein include meats like turkey, chicken, seafood, beef, eggs, protein fortified yogurt, protein bars. Some of my favorites are Quest bars, One bars, and Cliff Builder bars. Protein powders, these can either be whey protein or plant protein. Quest chips, those are awesome. They're like mostly made of protein. Tofu, for vegan options, there's tofu, seitan, vegetarian meat alternatives like the Boca brand and the Gardein brand. To build lean muscle, even if you're in a deficit and losing fat, we need to eat at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day. And it's better to eat closer to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. So what you would do is, if you are someone who you just know that you're not eating much protein, okay, and a lot of women fall into this category. Most women are drastically under eating protein. But let's say that's you. You would take your body weight, say you weigh 140 pounds, you would multiply that by 0.7, and you would need to be eating that amount of grams of protein per day in order to have a chance at building lean muscle. You can be doing the best workout plan, the most scientifically favorable workout plan, and if you're not eating at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day, you're likely not going to gain much muscle. So this is super important. So it's finding ways to fit protein into your day. You can add in more meat into each meal that you're eating, or more vegetarian meat alternative if that's your jam. You can add protein powder into your day. A protein shaker and water and powder is all you need for that. And you can add in protein fortified yogurt. There's Oikos protein yogurt, and Ratio is my favorite. It's RATIO, Ratio protein yogurt. It has 25 grams of protein for each container. I believe it has like 170 calories and maybe like 8 grams of carbs. So there's ways to add protein into your day, and this is super important. Now, not all proteins are complete proteins. So what a complete protein is that it contains all 9 essential amino acids. So complete proteins are found in red meat, seafood, poultry, soybeans, quinoa, eggs, and most dairy. Incomplete proteins, on the other hand, only contain some of these 9 essential amino acids. Most plant-based proteins are going to be incomplete proteins. And so if you are someone who eats a plant-based diet, you do have to combine foods together that will combine to create a complete protein. Combinations of foods that will give you all 9 essential amino acids are whole grains plus beans, okay? So whole grains like brown rice plus beans, whole grains plus lentils, and whole grains plus nuts. So just seeing if a product is whole grain, you'll see on the back that it says whole wheat flour, things like that. That's how you know that it's whole grain. Carbs. Carbs are foods that convert into glucose when digested. Carbs provide the main energy source for our bodies and our brains. This is how our bodies were designed. Our bodies were designed to utilize glucose as fuel. If we take in too few carbs, it's likely that over time we will not perform very well at work. We will feel groggy, tired, and irritable. We won't want to work out, or we won't be able to work out. On the contrary, if we eat enough carbs, we will notice that we feel better, we work better, and we actually want to work out, or at the very least, we can push through the workout. Okay, so carbs are not bad. Carbs are our body's fuel source. Now, there are different types of carbs, and not all carbs are created equal. You could say they digest differently within the body. So, monosaccharides, aka simple or refined carbs, these are the simple forms of sugars, such as glucose, fructose, and galactose. These give you instant energy, so these are really good to consume like right before a workout. Things like honey, fruit, and juice. These could also be found in candy, like lollipops and things like that. But of course, we don't want to be eating simple or refined carbs all throughout the day, because what will happen is that we will get this instant energy, but then we'll just be hungry again, like shortly after that. So we'll be consuming a lot of carbs for a little amount of overall satiation or satisfaction or fullness. So what allows us to feel more full are starches, aka complex carbs. These take longer for our body to digest, and they supply energy for our body throughout the day. So these foods can help us feel satisfied or full longer, and they often have nutrients and fiber. Foods in this group, you can think of pasta, you can think of oatmeal. That's my personal favorite. Eating oatmeal in the morning just sets me up for a day of productivity and satisfaction. It really does. Whole grain bread and starchy vegetables like corn, potatoes, and peas. Now, fats. Fats are a food source or macronutrient that our body uses for healthy hormone regulation, as well as to absorb certain vitamins, okay? Fats are really helpful for absorption of vitamins A, D, E, and K, which are contained in different of the micronutrient-dense foods that you'll eat. Also, if you take a multivitamin, then likely it will contain these vitamins. So foods that contain healthy dietary fats include avocado, nut butters, nuts, cheeses, oils, and butter. For healthy hormone regulation and vitamin absorption, women need to eat at least 40 grams of fat daily. Okay, so fats are not bad. There are different types of fats. So unsaturated fats are known as your healthy fats. They actually help improve cholesterol and they decrease inflammation. So two types of unsaturated fats. There's polyunsaturated fats, which contain omega-3s, which are found in salmon, flax seeds, walnuts, olive oil, tofu, and eggs. And then omega-6, which is found in sunflower oil, soybean oil, and safflower oil. Monounsaturated fats are the second type of unsaturated fat. These are found in meat, olives, nuts, and avocados. So trans fats are known as bad fats. Okay, the reason for this is that they increase the bad cholesterol, the unfavorable cholesterol in our bodies, and these are found in foods like fried fast food, pies, cakes, cookies, and margarine. Okay, remember margarine is different than butter. We do need to moderate our intake on these trans fats for overall long-term body health, okay? So saturated fats. Saturated fats are found in red meat like beef and lamb. They're also found in full-fat dairy products, butter, and ice cream. We should aim for no more than 7% of our daily calories to come from saturated fats, if at all possible. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out to me. So let's get into a little bit about vitamins and minerals before we wrap up here. Just touching on a few of the key players for women, for minerals for women. Iron is super huge for us, okay? Especially for active women, we are at a high risk of low iron or iron deficiency. So iron is important, super important for the production of hemoglobin within red blood cells, which helps deliver oxygen to the organs. It also plays a key role in immune system function. So there are two types of iron. There's heme iron and non-heme iron. Heme iron is better absorbed by our body versus non-heme iron. And heme iron is found almost exclusively in animal products. So heme iron can be found in beef, tuna, chicken, oysters, halibut, clams, and pork loin. Non-heme iron is in plant sources and it is not absorbed as well by our bodies. It can be found in spinach, soy milk, tofu, raisins, bread, lentils, and fortified cereals. This is a cheat code to increase your body's non-heme iron absorption. Consume it with a vitamin C rich food such as an orange or a lemon. So if you're eating spinach, eat lemon over your spinach, sprinkled on your spinach, and this can help you absorb the iron in the spinach. So iron is a mineral, which is a micronutrient. Another mineral that we want to focus on is calcium. Calcium plays a role in bone and teeth formation, muscle contraction, healthy nerve conduction, and the secretion of hormones and enzymes. Calcium is found in yogurt, milk, green vegetables, tofu, cheese, and sardines. Calcium is also a micronutrient. Now, vitamins. Vitamins C, D, and E are considered some of the most important vitamins for women. Vitamin C helps with iron absorption, like I just mentioned. Iron absorption is complemented by the consumption of vitamin C. Vitamin C is also an antioxidant, and it helps with collagen synthesis and the absorption of vitamin E. Vitamin C is found in citrus fruits, tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, acorn, butternut, squash, and red peppers. Okay, vitamin D aids in bone health, calcium absorption, and phosphorus absorption. A vitamin D deficiency can increase the risk of anemia. Vitamin D is found in salmon, tuna, mackerels, sardines, egg yolks, shiitake mushrooms, and alfalfa sprouts. The last one, vitamin E. Vitamin E helps with red blood cell formation and the transportation of oxygen to muscles during exercise. Active women need vitamin E to reduce the risk of anemia. Vitamin E can be found in olive oil, almonds, seeds, spinach, nuts, and kale. Almost done, guys. So, real quick, whole foods versus processed foods. This is super important. Whole foods undergo little to no processing and have almost no additives in them. Think of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, legumes, eggs, minimally processed meat with no additives, and minimally processed milk with no additives. Okay, processed foods, on the other hand, are foods that undergo quite a bit of processing, mechanical processing, chemical processing, things like that. They usually come pre-packaged in boxes and have a list of lots of ingredients in them. Processed foods will often contain additives like sugar, butter, xanthan gums, and hydrogenated oils to add flavor as well as to preserve the food longer to increase the shelf life. We want to try to consume 70% of our overall caloric intake from whole foods because they have the nutrients we need to be healthy and feel good. So hypothetically, you could be consuming your whole diet of processed foods and hitting your macronutrient goals and be losing fat and gaining muscle, but you won't be feeling good overall in that scenario. What you want to do is make sure that you're eating fruit with your breakfast and vegetables with your lunch and dinner, if at all possible. Or you're eating fruit and vegetables as a snack throughout the day. Keeping on hand carrots, cucumbers that are pre-sliced, sliced apples, things like that, if you're not eating these nutrient-dense foods at your meals. So you guys, if you have any questions, I hope that you got something from this. I know this was quite lengthy. I wanted to give you a tool that you could listen to, a resource to listen to the audio so that you can get this information just ingrained in your head and familiarize yourself with it. If you have any questions, let me know. Over time, all of this information will become more familiar the more that you use it. And I really am so excited for you for prioritizing your health enough to devote your time and attention to something as important as nutrition and what you're feeding your body. If you can, just skim over this nutrition foundation guide every now and then. And you can do this while you're getting in your steps, and it'll pay off, I promise. As always, let me know if you have any questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I'm here for you. I'm super excited for you, and I'm sending you lots of blessings.